do we need to know anything? Do we need to tell me anything, or are we just doing a thing?
I mean, I'll put us on Facebook, and then I'll give you a number based on how many suggestions we have, and then you could just like pick a number, and we go. Yeah, we do about 10 minutes. It can be, most of these have been mono scenes, so like, one scene real time. But if you want to jump around and throw in characters, I'm fine with that too. I played with Craig Euler. Do you know Euler?
I don't know him personally, but I've seen him perform a couple of times, yeah.
Oh my God. And it's great because he is just all over the place. So we did a ton of stuff very rapidly, but like most of these are just suggestions and then a 2-person scene.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any conventions that you tend to use? Like people seem to be doing camera off is off stage and camera on is on stage. Seems to be a convention that people are going for. Do you have any? No,
if you want to usually if you want to go off screen or off stage, just like you can exit. If you want to turn your camera on and off, I'm down with that. Whatever. I think it's real fun to play however you like to play.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I've done a few things like this, and I think I generally, as a result, hello, live on Facebook. Hey, anyone who's watching on Facebook. I guess my instinct, because I come from a kind of acting-y, theatrically kind of background, I tend to kind of dig into a character, do a 2-person scene. I just don't want it to look like I'm being lazy.
No, that's cool, man.
Should I do the share thing? Would you like me to do the share? I should do the share thing. Right?
Yeah, share it if you want, man. That's great.
I'm going to unmute myself quickly so that I don't.
And we have a robust activity with our suggestions.
Am I unmuted again?
Yeah, you're unmuted, man.
Cool. Tell me what. So we have a bunch on your thing, because I shared your post as well. I've got some suggestions on my thingy as well.
I got 35 on.
Oh,
or no, 39. 39.
Wow, you definitely beat me. I've got I guess it's about 15 or so.
Ooh, which one do you want to do? Do you want to take one from the ones I've got, or do you want to do one from yours? I'm torn. I'm torn between I'm torn between the intrigue of let's take one from each, with also the laziness of it's a 10-minute scene. We shouldn't be overworking ourselves. Let's take one from yours. And then we'll just go with that. And I'll do what I normally do with these suggestion things is I will go back this evening and I will write a 2-sentence summary of what the show would have been for every suggestion that's been given for this. Solid.
Every single one.
That's perfect.
So people won't feel like they've been cheated.
And give them a two sentence for the one we actually do as well, of what a better one could have been.
Yeah. That's absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely what I should do. I have one more question. Here's what life should have offered us. I have one more question, which is, how do we finish? Do we just call scene? Will you do that? Or
I'll usually call scene, but if you want to, if you find an out and you're like, oh, that seems like a good one, yeah, call it.
All right, cool. So it's all flexibility. I love it.
Yeah. 1 through 39.
Let's go for 38 because this is currently my age. I think.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's from Aree in Oslo, and the suggestion is, "Oh, you're in this panel discussion too?" ?
Which is great because we actually met during a panel discussion that which they're organized. So that's beautiful. All right, I'm going to camera off and camera on to kind of make it feel official. So right. You're in this panel discussion too.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Oh.
All right.
Hey, Tom.
Mark. I did not Yeah. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Hey. Really good. I didn't know you'd be on this discussion too.
No, I am. It's flattering. It's flattering that I'm put on the same,
Yeah.
Happy days.
Me as well. I feel very flattered to be included. I didn't even look at who was going to be on the panel. I've been doing a lot of traveling, so this is a great surprise.
And they don't want you to like say anything new. They just want you to come and repeat talking points from the book anyway, don't they? So that's
right. It's like I feel like I'm just I feel like I'm being a robot. I feel like I'm an actor, and I'm going to all those press junkets, and then it's just like the same thing because you also get asked the same questions.
Yeah. You know those kids' toys where you pull a string and then it says one of a randomized like 4 or 5. I think you could replace me with one of those toys, which is like a little 3-minute soundbite about, is it chapter 4 or is it chapter 9 or?
Interesting question. That's my every time I get asked something. Interesting question.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Like, I feel like I am shoehorning in the same answers, but it's not. We're not the problem.
No,
we're not the problem.
No, and I'm glad you're on this panel because finally somebody who can understand.
Yeah.
Things good. Things good.
Yeah. They're right. I've kind of hit a bit of a wall with the new one. I'm not making progress with it.
Yeah.
You know that feeling?
No, all the time. And especially like your last book was so successful. It's like you have this thought of, can I live up to it? And then I've had that, and I sit down and I'm like, and then it becomes such a big mountain for me to overcome.
Do you ever wonder if the most important and relevant things that you were going to say or think have already happened? Of like you've gone over the peak and you're just marching your way towards death.
That's exactly how I feel. I am never going to achieve the same level of success. I mean, and that my book came out 12 years ago. So yeah, and I keep trying to overcome that. But one thing that's helped me honestly is to just accept the fact I'm never going to hit that peak again. I'm on my way to slow descent to death, and I'm just got to accept it. And that doesn't mean I give up. It just means that's what it is.
But I mean, I know we're supposed to be mature about it and just the practice and the craft and all that kind of stuff. But like, honestly, straight up question, man to man, writer to writer, why bother? If we're done, if we're cooked, if we've written our wasteland, if we've written our, better angels of our nature, then why bother? No one's interested in the stuff that we are going to do in the next 20 or 30 years of our lives. But then what do we do with the next 20 or 30 years of our lives?
Do you want to know why I bother? I've been thinking about this whole year. I've been thinking a lot about this. I bother because I don't have any other skills. What am I going to do at this point in my life? You know what I mean? It's like, what could you possibly do at this point? This is what I do. And I have no other choices. I have no other options.
Let me ask you a question. How your book was successful as an underplaying of it. It was, how rich are you? You must be pretty rich.
Well, I can tell you what I get average residuals from my book, just that one book, or I can tell you what my let me start with first the book, and then I'll tell you what I have. And people might think like this is an inappropriate question, and I don't think at all. I thank you for asking that. Like, people are really scared to ask. It doesn't matter. It's just a number, right? It's just a number.
It's not worth. Yeah. How much? Let me guess.
Okay.
So it's 12 years ago. You must still be selling 10, 52, the percentage. I reckon you must be hitting skywards of $80,000 per year after tax on that first book.
On just the first book alone, I average about 1.2 million a year. It's been translated into 84 languages, and with ebook sales, the key is with ebook sales, you get a bigger percentage.
Right.
Like I make about 94% of all ebook sales I pocket. 94%. Because they don't have to do anything. They don't have to make a physical book or anything like that. That's why I'm always pushing ebooks. That's why I'm talking today about the importance of having your books and your communications and everything electronic, because that's the wave of the future. But for authors, that's the biggest take you can get is from those ebooks. And so I'm always pushing the ebooks, and I have an exclusive deal with Kindle as well. Anytime you get a Kindle, you get one of my books free. You get that book for free.
So you're kind of like U2 with the album that was supposed to be on the iPhones.
That's exactly, that's exactly what people say. It's like, why am I getting his book downloaded? The difference is people enjoy my book. They don't enjoy the YouTube album.
It was a great book. Sorry, I didn't want to make a comparison. Like I loved your book was
it's accurate.
1.2. You know what I'm realizing as you're saying this, that not only is the most innovative, interesting, successful period of my life kind of gone, but also I did the numbers wrong. Like my 80,000 was based on what I get. I get about 100, I thought my book sold about twice as many as yours, give or take.
Yeah.
You keep aware of this, and my publisher tells me, so I get about 150K a year, which I thought reasonably estimation, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
I mean, it's not bad, but you're getting screwed, my friend.
I thought I was doing well. I thought I was going to have to play humble there and be like, oh,
I think I think your publisher is doing a number on you, and you might want to relook at that agreement. My lawyer took a look at my agreement, and early on, he renegotiated that, and that set me up in a good place. Now, my subsequent books, the 3 I've released since then, yeah, those make about, combined, they make, combined, they're about 300 a year, 300,000 combined, but again, that you hit that one, and that's what, I have a friend who says he just wanted to release a never work again book, which is like, it's that one book where you then never have to work again. And right. I've got that. And then the other 3 do pretty well, and I could survive on that, but nobody wants to talk about those 3 books.
No, you're still saying the same stuff you said 12 years ago. You read this, you read the 4-Hour Work Week? I feel like everyone of our generation read that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's a must read.
I wouldn't want to be as sure as he is. You know what I mean?
Really?
He's so categorically clear about every single truth in that whole book. It's not like no one else is going to want him to write a book. He doesn't leave himself any space to write another book. He put a period at the end of his own sentence, and then that's it.
Well, that's Ferris, man. If you know him, he is, and that's the thing. He writes what he thinks is the truth. And one advice that I've heard that I'm constantly giving other people is like, you have to write what you think is good. You don't try to write a book for them. Write a book that you want to write.
Right, exactly. Write the book that the past version of you needs to be reading. That's the thing, yes. Right? Write the book that the past version of you needs to be reading.
Yes, and this is only what works for me, right? Like I can only say what works for me, and if there's an audience out there, then I got to grab onto that audience. When I was first writing, I was trying to write stories that everyone could enjoy, and it's just I got to accept that that's just not it. I can write my thing, and there are going to be critics, and what people think of me is none of my damn business.
I think you just solve the little problem that we were trying to find our way towards it. If we're writing the books that the past version of us needed to read, if the past version of us was more successful than the present version of us, then we can't write a book that the past version of us needs to read. Therefore, we're stuck in a vicious circle.
Yeah.
Shit.
You gotta break the pattern, man. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. All right.
Scene.
Oh man, that was depressing.
I had a lot of fun in it, even talking about the downside, a slow descent to death. I mean, I'm 50, man. So it's like, back nine. It's the back nine of life, and like there were elements of truth in that scene. It's like, I don't know what else am I gonna do?
Right. There's I quote this a lot in classes. So Alan Bennett, do you know the playwright Alan Bennett?
Yeah.
So he wrote a play about W.H. Auden, who wrote Stop All the Clocks, Cut Off the Telephone. He wrote a play about W.H. Auden when he was in his 70s or 80s, or sort of old. And he was a tenured professor at Oxford of poetry. And the play is about, or in part, if I remembering it correctly, about a visit by a journalist, or possibly a biographer, to Auden. And one of the questions he asks, and this journalist asks Auden, is, what are you, you changed the face of poetry in your 20s, you're now in your 80s, you have all the money you need, you're a tenured professor at Oxford, you were independently rich before any of this happened, why do you still do it? And he just said, I have the habit of art. I've been thinking a lot about that recently, particularly in the context of the pandemic, because I would imagine that you're in the same position as me, that very little of what you are doing makes financial sense on the surface of it.
Right.
But what the hell else are you going to do with your time? Which is the negative version of, this is what I do with my time. Like when people are talking about, do you do shows online? Do you want to do that? Are you excited by that? I was confused by the question, because it's like, well, this is what I do. This is how I spend that's it.
I agree. I'm like, for me, I look at it like, why wouldn't I do it?
Right.
This is, what do I do every day? I improvise, which is similar to before this whole pandemic, but now I get the luxury of playing with people like you, who we've never played together. We've met, and we have been on that panel discussion together, but it's one of those situations where I said, there are people I haven't ever played with that we kind of orbited around each other, or we know of each other. So this is the perfect opportunity to get out there and do it, and then just lean into it and say, this is kind of a new form. We're still improvising, but it's a new form and style. And so I look at it like, I haven't improvised as much as I'm doing right now, but also I might not have been as happy as I am right now because I'm creating.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about that new form thing, because I think it's very interesting. I've had people passionately say this is a new art form, online improv, and people passionately say this is the same art form, it's just through a camera. And at the time I've listened to it, I've agreed with both of those people, so I don't know what I think, but that's fine. What do you find to be the similarities, and what do you find to be the differences in terms of what it is that you're, not like what it is, but more like what you're doing internally?
I think like it definitely has me slowing down to listen and respond more, because you can't talk over each other or you'll miss it. So I find like I'm pretty good at responding, waiting till someone's finished before responding, and this is just like reinforcing that. I think the difference is it's technology. Like you're dealing with, is your internet stable enough? Is there going to be a lag there? Is my computer going to shut down midway through this? Can they hear me? Are they, who's online right now? Is that eating up into the system? But I feel like a lot of it is the same, and you do it a couple times and you go, okay, it's still improvising. I'm still connecting with someone. When people say like, oh, I'm not as physical, it's like, well, you can be as physical. I did a scene with my buddy James, and we were playing basketball and we were getting hurt, and like, you can do that. You just have to open up your imagination even more. But now you're infusing technology, which anytime there's technology involved, there's always a chance something can go wrong that's out of your control. So then how do you deal with it?
Yeah. And I was teaching a class the other day, maybe it was yesterday, who knows, all days are the same day. And
right?
The best scene of the evening was with a lovely improviser from France who lives in Barcelona called Rahila, and she was playing a scene with Stuart, who's an old hand on the London scene. He froze 10 seconds into the scene, and she continued playing a scene with this frozen picture of Stuart's face. And it's like, that to me is like, that's the pure improv spirit of, you play the cards you have, you fight with the army you have. Like it was actually beautifully done. I mean, it hurts. I think it hurt Stuart's feeling a little bit that he came back and it turned out that the best scene of the evening was the one that, not just the one he wanted,
the one that he kind of left, like, which is kind of, but yeah, I think that's it's like those times when both in the classes and the teaching and in the shows, but then also as a community, we are demonstrating the values that we've been talking about for years and years is very inspiring. Yeah. Which isn't just that it isn't a shit situation. Can I swear? It's like 9 in the morning there for you, isn't it?
Oh, fuck, man.
Okay,
fucking fuck. Hey, dude. Watch your fucking mouth. Of course. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, I look at this as like, this is an opportunity to kind of shape what we want to do with it. And the next step after this is going to be like virtual reality and like, what can we do in the artificial, intelligence area? How can we take this technology and not fight against it and go, oh, it's not the same. It's like, of course it's not the same. We're not next to each other, but I think we could still do some really fun, interesting work that we couldn't do on a stage. It's like improvising on film or TV. You don't have a live audience there. You're playing more to the camera, and you can make things more cinematic as you went, and you can involve costumes and props and things like that, which we haven't before. So I look at it like, let's explore it as much as we can. I think it's here to stay. I think just the shift is going to be like how much is online versus how much is going to be with people in an audience, live.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I think there's going to be a question of, in the same way of cinema and theatre kind of separating and doing different things. And I guess like starting in the 20s, there'll be those things which we do online and those things which we do in the meet space, IRL.
Yeah.
And the smart players will know how to match the show that they want to make with the medium that they want to make it. Like, no one's trying to put Fast and the Furious into into the theater, and there's a reason why the Spider-Man was such a legendary flop, is that you don't try and do those stunts in a theater, right? But you also, Waiting for Godot on film doesn't really work for me. Like, you start to match the story that you want to tell, or the type of stories that you want to tell, with the way that you want to tell them, right?
Yeah, and you, like you said, like you go, let's embrace this technology. Let's figure out how we can make this work for us. It's another character in the scene. So now it's like 2-person scenes are a 3-person scene because you have technology here. So it's, I don't know. I look at it like I can either not improvise right now, or I can do this. And to me, this brings me so much more joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can people find you online? Because you're teaching a bunch and you're doing some online classes and shows, but what's the best way people get a hold of you?
Yeah, my two main, I do a bunch of things, as I think all improvisers do, but the nurserytheatre.com is the theatre that I work for in London. I'm teaching there. We do shows every Saturday evening, possibly do some tech stuff, not tomorrow evening or the day after tomorrow evening, but every Saturday evening we do shows. Every Friday we do panels and we do a bunch of classes. I also perform with the Maydays, which is the maydays.co.uk. We're currently not performing, but we'll come back. And I'm also the director of Impromptu Shakespeare, which is an improvised Shakespeare show, which is not under someone else is directing it, but there's a new show which is being developed specifically for the online space, which I don't think I'm allowed to talk about, but it's going to be really fucking cool. So I'm not allowed to say anything, but you should check out Impromptu Shakes on all the normal social medias.
Oh, you're the best, my friend. So much fun playing with you. I can't wait to do it again.
It was delightful. Thank you so much, Jay.
All right. See you, buddy.
Later.
Later.
Where's the thing? And we're out.